Our first guest is the co-founder of the educational platform Trill or Not Trill. Let's welcome Professor Lenny Williams. How are you?
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
I'll call you Lenny.
Socks. They're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, look. Woo.
Everybody know that David socks.
Your shoes are also amazing, by the way. So tell us about Trill or Not Trill.
So it's Trill or Not Trill. What it is a platform for education, for leadership development, basically a higher education. So my partner and I created this program to be culturally responsive in our education. And what I mean by culturally responsive is making sure that everybody's included within education. So for example, we talk about masculinity, we may add Drake in masculinity. If we're talking about
Culturally relevant
information, culturally relevant things that are happening. We even created like the Beyonce and the social change model. So this thing was done on a K through 12 level. We have seen culturally responsive teaching on K through 12. But we did not see it in higher education, so my partner and I created this program, this platform.
What's the Beyonce? Tell me about Beyonce.
Yeah,
Beyonce, yes.
We all love Beyonce, so tell us.
There's a social change model that was available through K through 12. Pretty much what we did, we took the Lemonade album and infused that into...
Ooh, that was a hot potato lemonade.
I'll be able to see, I'll send that to you guys. Yeah.
So what can a student or their parents expect from one of these leadership programs?
So what a student or parent can expect is that we're making sure that, again, everybody's included. Every culture is included, every socioeconomic background is included, every gender is included. In addition to that, we are trying to create an alternative to what college looks like. So we're trying to create an alternative method of learning, but an alternative way for students to not only get the education, but to get the careers and be ready for the careers and get the job. So that's what parents can expect. They can expect to get the student to learn leadership skills, but also be ready to go out in the real world and get a career or a job.
Yeah, you know that nowadays in the U.S. teachers don't get paid enough. And in fact, in Chicago, public schools have been closed because teachers are going on strikes. And this could allegedly affect about 300,000 students, more or less. How can the government or even private institutions do more for schools?
What they can do more for schools, in addition to, a lot of the school systems are what I call archaic, right? And we don't ever correlate consumerism with education, right?
And it is a consumable good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we live in a capitalist society,
so
of course.
Instead of us creating these modules or creating these assessments that we think are good for students, we don't give the students or the parents enough a voice. They're the customers at the end of the day. So to me, I feel like if we're able to give the student and the parents the voice to say what they really want or expect from education, education can be better across the board.
So how does your platform work? Let's say someone signs up. How does it work?
So for us, it's more of a higher education thing. So for our platform, it's two ways. So for one, we go into schools and we do leadership development with different workshops, different offices. Because
so you go to universities.
At universities. So we've been to universities such as UCLA. We're going to University of Kentucky, and we come in and they might have had a leadership conference before. We come in and we infuse this culturally responsive method into their conference to make it that much better. Then we go out and say, hey, who are some of your top students, some of your top leaders? And we take those leaders and we follow them for a year, mentor them, provide these leadership development webinars, podcasts, and link them with people in the industry to help them get a career once they graduate.
Yeah, how do you identify these leaders? Because, it's a nebulous quality. It's like, what kind of metrics do you
So
push?
for us, the first thing is an involvement on your campus. So a really good metric is to success is the students that are more involved tend to be successful post-graduation or while they're in school, right? So we look at the students that are mostly involved in things like student government, not just student government, but running a club or organization. If not running a club or organization, they have one or two
engagement
under their belt. So it's about engagement, even doing community work or doing some religious work. As long as they're doing something where it's not just going to class and coming back to their dormitory.
What if I'm one of those students, I just go to class all the time, I'm struggling academically, because come on, it's a tough transition for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And even if I want to be involved in community groups or religious groups or other activities on campus, I don't have time for it. So would I be not identified as a leader?
No, so this is what Trill or Not Trill comes in. We try to find non-traditional leaders. And what I mean by non-traditional leaders is meeting students where they are. So sometimes there might be a student group, for example, that are really into video games, right? But the leadership leadership conference doesn't infuse video games into the conference, so the students are not there. Or sometimes students are involved with sneakers, like students love sneakers. So guess what? We're gonna bring a top sneaker collector in a sneaker company, and maybe the student will come into this conference. So that's why we come in. You know, typically leadership was this general way of looking at it. We're like, listen, there's leadership within everything and every interest. So we try to figure out what are those spaces that are not involved in these conferences or not involved in these conversations, and bring these workshops and these keynotes and these speakers to make those students feel comfortable attending.
So I know this is a very basic question, and I was involved in teaching leadership for many years, but can leadership be learned?
Can leadership be learned? Yes, I feel it can be. But I also believe that people are born and natural leaders. It's like sports, right? Some people are born athletes, and some people go through training and go through all this extra practice to get to that level. So yes, I believe leadership can be taught.
But do you believe the person who learned leadership after the fact is ever going to be as good as somebody who had that quality to begin with?
Yes.
Wow.
I think so.
So it's completely teachable.
I believe leadership can be taught. And the thing is, the way that leadership can be taught is if we tap into the things that we're passionate about and the things that we love, then, you know, you can be a great leader in that because that's something that you love. A lot of times, this is why it goes back to me saying that leadership becomes general, that it has to be in a certain space that you got to be a leader. But you can be a leader in the things that you're doing, whether it's from a video game to a math club, from sneakers to engineering, right? It's about finding your space, finding your passion. And then once you find that passion in that space, then of course you can be that great leader because you love what you're involved with.
So what's next for you?
So what's next is for us to grow the Leadership Institute. In addition to us growing the Leadership Institute, we're also looking at different companies to partner with to bring them into different schools to help students get careers. And lastly, continue to do these conferences. We have a National Leadership Conference coming up in Orlando, Florida, which is about 600 students. We have another leadership conference, Diversity Leadership Conference at University of Kentucky, which is about 700 students. So we're going to continue to do the conferences, continue to partner with the different colleges, and also bring in these companies to infuse some careers and opportunities for students.
Sounds like a great idea, Lenny. Thanks for taking the time to
Thank you
talk
for
to us
being
today.
here.
And you're very snappily dressed.
Yeah.